I hate New York. I so hated New York. I had to leave. I couldn't even wait until my lease was up. I had to leave because I felt trapped in like a sea of cars and people. And I couldn't breathe. When I would go outside, all I could smell was dog shit and car exhaust. And every time I went to the store, there was these huge lines, and you couldn't even shop because every time you'd go to look at, say, you wanted to get some apples or something, there'd be people standing in front of you every time, and you'd have to wait and wait and wait for everything. And the subways, they stunk. Dirty, like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but just very like a mechanic's garage, like kind of dirty car grease and stuff. There was no fresh air down there. It was stale and stench, and there was rats. And then you get on the subway, and it felt really scary, like it could crash or something, like it was really too old or something. Like very creaky and squeaky and very noisy. When you would ride the subway, it was very loud. You could hear everything, like the rail tracks, very loud, very like not smooth, just very bumpy and noisy and scary. And then there was these people like everywhere, and they'd be coughing on you, and I fucking hated it. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. What am I doing here? So I left. I just said, keep my deposit. I'm getting out of here. And that's what happened. I lost my actually they made me give them 2 first and 2 last, so I actually lost a lot of money just to get out of there. I couldn't stand it anymore. I felt like it was just killing me, and I was actually, I don't know how to explain it, but I was under so much pressure of such a dense population that it kind of did something. It made me snap, and one day I can't believe it now that I look back, but I actually was going to take a hammer and smash the next taxi cab driver's window that tried to run me off the road, because I'm not kidding you, they would actually run you off the road. They would actually do it on purpose too. You would be like just minding your own business, riding your bike down the street, and they would you'd be like going like this, just riding straight down, and they would swerve like that, and like they were going to hit you, and then go on purpose, just for a joke. Like they thought it was funny, because the taxi cab drivers there are fucking crazy. And I'm not even just saying crazy as everybody says the word crazy. I mean, really, they were crazy. I actually seen them run red lights. I was actually in a taxi cab when it ran a red light, and they do it on purpose. It's like, and you hear about taxi cab drivers hitting pedestrians and killing them, like as if it's no big deal. I mean, in any other city it would be major news, right? You would think. In any other in a small town it'd be a huge news. That in a small town, can you imagine in a small town if a taxi cab driver hit a pedestrian? It would be all over the news. The guy would be arrested, and you would never hear the end of it. And in New York, it's just like, okay, so what else is new? You know, it's just like a common occurrence. And until you're there, and you feel it, and you see it, and you experience it, you could never imagine how awful. And I can't even imagine why anyone would wear a shirt that says, I love New York, because if anything, I fucking hate New York. I would never go back there again. I don't know how people can stand it, how they can even stand being there for more than a few months, because after about 5 or 6 months, you start to realize it's not a good place. And then after about 8 or 9 months, you just can't wait to get out of there. And I hated it, and I don't know how many times I have to say that I hated it, because I can't even tell you how much I hated it. There's no words to describe it. But I'm not kidding you. I would walk out my door to walk down the sidewalk, and all you smell is dog shit, because there's just so many people that walk their dogs, And these dogs, they shit everywhere on the sidewalk, and you can just smell the stench of shit everywhere. And if you ask me, it's way overpopulated with both people and dogs. And I don't know how that is even going to be close to sustainable, because you need an ecosystem for any kind of sustainability. And New York doesn't have that at all. And I imagine that probably in 10 years, if not less, it's just going to be a big slum. And there's going to be a lot of vacancies. You know, if anything, they're going to have to use high-rises to grow food in probably eventually, but I don't know how that would work. It'd have to be restructured, because they're not, the buildings there are not sustainable. They don't have solar, they don't have the right lighting. You know, they're not designed that way. But it's crazy there, and I'm just glad to get out of there. I'm in a smaller, much smaller city town now, and I feel a lot of the stress has left me, and I can actually, you know, go about my day without things really, you know, getting to me as much as they got to me there. Like I said, it was just overpopulated. And I just, you know, I think about the planet and all these people that they don't think twice about having large families, and no other species does this, because, you know, like the dinosaurs, I mean, they might have done it, but you know what happened to them. They overpopulated is how I see it. And I don't know, but it seems that way. And it seems like the only reason why people got to be this many is because of oil, and oil is not forever. So, yeah. Anyway, that's just my rant about New York. Oh, and one more thing. New York is totally not bike friendly no matter where you are. I thought that the East Village would have been bike friendly, because when you see, it's very deceiving, because when you first go there, you see all these bikes everywhere, but nobody ever hardly rides them, because you can't. It's like, how are you going to ride your bike? If you go out on the street, you got taxi cab drivers that want to run into you and run you over, and you got people double parking. So you can't even get around them, because they take up the whole street when they double park. Like, you've got a car parked here, car parked there, and then another car here, and it's like you can't go anywhere. You can't even like move like in between them. There's no room. So you have to go up on the sidewalk, and then you got people that yell at you and say, get off the sidewalk. So it's like, what do you do? And it got to the point where I just wanted to punch someone, because I was so under so much stress of people yelling at me, telling me to get off the sidewalk, of people honking at me, telling me to get off the road. It's like, you couldn't ride your bike, and that's the only way I could get around, the only practical way I could get around to do my errands, to do my shopping, or whatever I needed to do. It just, walking for me just doesn't work, because I have to carry, you know, large bags of produce and stuff every day, because I'm vegan and I eat a lot of produce. So it's heavy, a lot of it. It's, you know, watermelons, cantaloupes, all that stuff. It's very heavy. And it's not practical to carry it by hand. You have to have a bike with a huge basket, which I had, like a huge basket could fit 2 big bags of groceries. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I'm out of New York now, and I can finally breathe. I can finally go outside and take a breath of air and not feel like I'm being poisoned by all that car exhaust. So that's my story. And yeah, that's all for now. Take care.